Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GIP Financials YouTube channel. We are live. This is the live Q&A. We're doing something a little bit new as far as our engagement with our audience. So after every bi-weekly podcast episode, we're going to do a live Q&A just to test things out and to also give our audience an opportunity to discuss and ask questions about the topic that we're discussing. So I am your host, Sonia Jones of GIP Financials, your Mr. Beyond Give Money. And for those of you who are not familiar with GIP Financials, GIP is a remote bookkeeping firm headquartered here in Memphis, Tennessee. GIP is an acronym for Get in Position, and our mission is to empower entrepreneurs to know their numbers. And we also um, help entrepreneurs and nonprofits position their businesses for profit, right? And we do that in four unique ways through bookkeeping, tax filing, what we call funding assistance, and finance coaching. So we are happy to have you guys here with us today. And so as I'm waiting for my guest to come, I do want to make sure that you guys are aware of some of the events that GIP will be at soon. And so starting this week, this Sunday, I just confirmed an event for this Sunday at 9:30 where I will be at, and I want to make sure that I'm saying the name of the church correctly. So I will be at Faith Heritage Church of God in Christ at their care conference. They're doing a conference for single parents. And so I'll be talking about financial literacy and a future for our children. And shout out to Dr. Kareth Griffin for that opportunity. And so after Sunday, on Friday, March the 21st, GIP will be vending. Hold on, y'all. We'll be vending at the Junior League, the Junior League of Memphis, where we're going to be introducing ourselves to professional women and business women and sharing our business with them. And then March 26th, I'll be teaching Loan Literacy Part 2 with our Village United. That's March 26th at um, 11 Central Time, 12 Eastern. So if you want to see any of those events, minus the one Sunday, because I just got that confirmation I put on the website, but just go to gipfinancials.com and go to the events and you will see it there. All right. So I see that I have my guest coming on. So I'm going to go ahead and invite her in. There she is. All right. Hey,
Hey,
what's going on?
nothing much.
So I know, right? We're doing something that the reason why Latasha and I are keying is because this tech be teching and child when I tell you. So last live Q&A, it didn't go as smooth because I was all over the place. But shout out to Riverside, and it's the platform I use for our podcast. They actually have a live stream feature that was way easier than StreamYard. No shade, just want to say that out loud. Just saying. Found a little tutorial on YouTube, hooked it right on up. It was great, 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 great. And so, hold on, Latasha, I'm gonna put make sure I put Legacy Pro on your thing. There we go. All right. Gotcha. All right. Can you see your Legacy Pro accounting?
I do. Okay.
Silly.
Fancy.
So silly. All right, y'all. So we are going to talk today about um, the five, what we consider, I guess, the five biggest tax mistakes that our clients have experienced. This is not the five biggest end all be all because, that's very objective. Everybody kind of got their own opinion about that. But I wanted to make sure that I had Latasha on here with us to have a really good, in depth, and candid conversation about these mistakes and how you can overcome them. So there is no mistake that you cannot overcome. All right. There is no mistake that you can't overcome. And so if you have any questions as we're talking through this, feel free to put it in the chat. I do have access to the chat here so I can see it. So feel free to add your stuff there. This is why I didn't want any of these other platforms because I didn't want to be going back and forth and cross-eyed. So there you go. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about as far as our mistakes, and I had five. All right. So the first thing that I talked about, and hold on, check this out, Latasha. I tried to prep myself because I want to put the little mistakes on the little doodad up here.
Okay.
But it's
Fancy.
so silly. Is one mixing personal and business expenses, otherwise known as commingling, otherwise known as swiper no swiper, right? Swiper no swiper. And so when we're talking about mixing business and personal expenses, remember you guys that that's the surest way to misinterpret your finances, right? And then depending on what your situation is, you could be underreporting your income, or you could also be missing some tax deductions. Because let's just be honest. Because if you're doing that commingling and you're not keeping up with your financials, by the time you get to us and we ask you about all these things, you're gonna be like, I don't even remember what I spent money on, right? Especially for those Amazons and them Walmarts and them Targets and the ones where it could be anything and it ain't obvious what it is. We just gonna be like owner's draw,
Basically.
basically, right?
If you don't know, we don't know.
You don't know, we don't know. And you got to understand too, especially like right now it's tax season. We just don't get that type of time to try to be fishing through doing research, right? So just make sure that you guys are keeping up with your stuff on a monthly basis. It's critical for you to do that. Okay. So that's the first thing. Uh, the second thing is not tracking your cash transactions properly. Not tracking your cash. Why you smiling like that, Latasha?
I'm just admiring, the captions. That's all.
That's hilarious, y'all. This week, like life been life in this week. So I was down here at the bottom of the mountain. I'm like the little dude on the Price is Right. I'm kind of getting back up there, but this was probably my biggest win of the whole week. Just getting this set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, like for real, for real. So, well, let's talk about not tracking these cash transactions. So, think about this, especially like one of the things like Latasha and I like to do on a regular basis is when we look at social media and we see other gurus talking about things, like we'll send each other a message with like a double eye emoji, like the big eye emoji, or a child, or one of these, right? Because there's a lot of misinformation going on. And one of the things that we saw, there was a video that talked about, I guess, a way for you, I guess, to kind of build your business credit or something like that. And they were saying for you to create an LLC and then take your work check and put it in the business um, bank account as recorded income or reported income. And that's not how that works, right? That's not earned income. So if you are the owner of the business and you're putting money into the business, that's not earned income. That's what we call equity or owner's contribution, right? Equity is just another word for ownership because you're basically being the investor and you're investing money in your own business. Same thing for when you take money out of the business, for your personal self, for your personal, reasons, i.e., paying yourself. And let me say that paying yourself is not a sin. Paying yourself is not a sin. However, you have to do it clean. You got to do it the right way, right? So when you're taking the money and you made some sales and you're taking money out of the bank account, right? That's not an expense. You paying yourself is not an expense. That's
Correct.
what we call owner's draw, right? And that'll be coming from the equity as well. So that's just one of the ways when we were talking about, not tracking your cash transactions um properly, right? So anything you want to add, Latasha, there?
No, that's perfect. 'Cause like you said, you have to earn the income in order for it to even count. But it's always nice if you're going to do the owner's draw, just kind of set up a set amount that you're going to transfer to your account so that it's easy to identify like as you're going through your numbers. So a lot of times people just the money they're using in their business, they just swiping the card and it makes it hard to identify if it was business or personal. So it's definitely great if you're going to do the owner's draw to just transfer certain amounts of money based on whether when you get paid or certain times of the month.
Right, exactly. And especially when it comes to your excuse me, your business revenue, right? You got to keep in the back of your mind too that you still have expenses for your business. You still have hopefully money that you're putting aside for taxes, right? So so when you're thinking about, enjoying the fruit of your labor, right? Think about it in percentages, like Latasha said. Like allocate, say I'm only gonna take 10 or 15% for myself, say 30% for, cash reserves, taxes, things like that. Kind of think about it like that. And then that way you will always have some type of cash remaining just in case, right? What if you want to invest later in a course or something, for your business that's going to take you to the next level. And you can't do that because you spent all your money, right? So we just have to kind of be thinking about, being good stewards and how to properly allocate the cash flow. Yes.
Right.
Yes. All right. So we talked about mixing personal and business expenses. We talked about not tracking, right, your cash transactions properly. Let's talk about number three. Y'all ready? This is underreporting or forgetting to report all of your income. And so in the podcast, I was specifically talking about those blessed merchant accounts. Like, come on, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, right? Because a lot of things the biggest thing that we see often is if we have an entrepreneur that's using one of those methods, and let's be honest, like most of us are using some type of merchant, platform to receive income. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you got to understand that once you are using those platforms, say if I buy something from Latasha and the product or the service was $100, when it gets to Latasha's bank account, it probably will only be about $96 because there's a processing fee that comes with it, right? If you go to um, a tax filer or somebody that is not versed in bookkeeping, right? 9 times out of 10, they basically just gonna take all your deposits minus all your expenses and call it a wash. But specifically when it comes to your merchant accounts, you have to track the full gross value of that sale, right? As revenue, as earned revenue. And you also have to recognize that transaction fee from their merchant account because that's tax deductible, right? So instead of Latasha, when she gets ready to file her taxes, that she's reporting just at $97. That's incorrect. She should be reporting at $100 for her gross income, and then at $3 as merchant fees as far as her taxable deductions. Y'all are leaving so much money on the table with
Right.
not taking into account those merchant fees, right? And in addition to, because we have entrepreneurs that are also specifically like with Shopify and Square and Cash App that they offer you loans, right? The capital, the interest and fees that go along with that are tax deductible as well. Not the payment, but the interest and fees, right? So y'all, we are leaving lots of tax deductions on the table because we're not aware of those things, right? Go ahead, Latasha, you gonna say something?
I was because another thing we've run into is people are using Cash App, but it's not connected to their business account. So that revenue isn't being reported at all because they're
Mhm.
on a personal business or a personal Cash App versus a business Cash App. So they're not even transferring the money to the business account. They're just either leaving it on Cash App or transferring it right to their personal account without, again, that's part of underreporting your income because you're not counting it, you're just taking it and doing something different with it.
Right. Exactly. And it takes quite a bit of discipline. I'll be honest with you, as far as like as soon as you, because I did have one client that would pay me through Cash App. And what I would have to do is from my personal account, move it. It was so many steps. I would had to had to move it from Cash App to my personal and then from my personal to my business account.
But you know what I've done is like you can switch your cards on Cash App. I toggle between my cards like anytime that has happened, it's like, okay, I need to move this. So let me change out my debit card and add my business debit card. That way I can transfer the money a lot easier that way instead of because that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yep. But you can swap your cards out as many times as you need to. I've done it before. Because my Cash App is personal, so
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
don't
mine is
usually I
too.
don't have anyone that actually pays me via Cash App. Like there was one time, maybe a couple times, but
Mm-hmm.
it's very like very very rare.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a personal one too, but I guess I wasn't aware. Now I have my personal debit card on there, but I guess yeah, I can switch that out. That definitely will cut out at least one step. Child.
Hmm. Yeah, I've done it. I've had to do that as well. It's like okay, this money was sent for this service, so let me swap the cards out, transfer the money, and then swap my cards back out.
Right. Absolutely. So see y'all, we go through it too. So oh, what you think we over the leader, the elite, we be going through it too, child. We entrepreneurs at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
we are having to
Right.
find ways around it. Now I don't remember counting them transaction fees from Cash App. You know, the instant deposit,
Right. I know
they
that's
be
right.
taxing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, man. So yeah, just make sure as soon as you get that business revenue, just go on and transfer it. Just go on and transfer it. Okay. Um, so yeah, so underreporting or forgetting to report all your income because it's definitely gonna matter. Because what we've also noticed too is that when we're doing bookkeeping and it's time to, review the numbers with the clients, and they're like, "That's all the income. I know I made more money than that." Then we'll ask, "Well, what other methods of payment were you receiving money from?" And that's when we find out Zelle, Cash App, the personal accounts start peeping in, right?
Yep.
And then we have to, go back and and acknowledge all that income, right? So just be
Right.
aware of those things, and especially like I know a lot of times you don't think about that in the short term or in the present, But when it's time for you to start applying for funding, that's when the rubber gonna meet the road, right? So it's good to go ahead and get all that. And then it's also for your personal, um, financial narrative as well. Because your numbers tell a story. And you want to be able to really track your growth and how well your business is doing, right?
Right.
So those numbers all they will always be important to your
Always.
business.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. Friend, they are integral. Those numbers are integral. They have integrity because they're gonna tell you what it is and what it ain't,
Mm.
right? All right, so we talked about, I'm gonna do a little recap. So we talked about mixing personal and business, not tracking cash transactions properly. Number three was underreporting or forgetting to report all of your income. Number four, missing out on deductions due to poor record keeping. So everything we just talked about,
Mm, mm, mm.
everything.
I can talk about this all day.
Talk about it.
I have seen this a lot when I meet with clients to prepare their taxes and they're not tracking anything. So I'm having to go through them additional questions like, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Like, how are you keeping track? And if they're not keeping track of anything, we're having to basically piece together a narrative when it
Mhm.
comes to the expenses. They'll obviously have their revenue, especially if they receive 1099s and they
Mhm.
use Square or something like that. But when it comes to those expenses, they don't know how much they've spent and they're having to guess versus having an actual dollar amount. So that can cause you to end up owing money because, again, you're not tracking your mileage or you're not
Mhm.
tracking your expenses, and you're just leaving a lot of money on the table to where, or basically, you're handing a lot more money to the IRS than you should be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And y'all, like I said, I know as entrepreneurs, we've heard it all. Like math ain't my big thing. I ain't a numbers person. All this stuff. I don't like QuickBooks. I don't know how to use Excel. Dude, get you some pencil, get a notebook, get a spiral note. You got to start somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere. Get you a Ziploc bag, put them receipts in that Ziploc bag. Get you a box from Kroger and put them papers in that box. We got to start somewhere, y'all. There's no excuse.
Yeah.
You can't be an entrepreneur and not know your numbers. You can't just be out here. What's the point of you doing all this glorious work, this assignment that God is giving you?
Hmm.
And you know that our assignments have seasons,
Right.
right? And so if your assignment is what if God wants you to rest after this business, you don't even know what your income and how much money you got to save in order to coast, right? So we got to be wise in that.
Yes, because one thought I just had: who you want to give your money to, the bookkeeper or the IRS?
Sure.
Most people don't want to give all their money to the IRS, but you end up giving more money to the IRS because you didn't want to invest in your business. Most people just
Mhm.
look at bookkeeping as an expense when it's actually an investment. You're investing in the knowledge that we provide you when it comes to your numbers. You're investing in the reports that we're providing you. So in the event that you're going to owe money, you're going to know way ahead of time, and you can start getting a plan of action together, whether it's setting money aside or paying those estimated quarterly tax payments. But
Mhm.
again, your money is going to go somewhere. So why not give it to a company that's going to help you grow your business and help you save money on taxes?
Exactly. Y'all, we cannot stress this enough. Bookkeeping is an investment because we get a lot of folks too. It's like, oh, y'all charge too much. I'd rather do it myself. And then you go on and do it yourself. You get bopped upside the head. You get that letter from the alphabet boys.
And
And
then
then
you now need some extra help.
yeah. And a lot of times we have to go back, you know, maybe a year or two to figure out what the issue was. Right. And every time that we have, the farther we have to go back, and a lot of times the more we have to charge because that's more work we have to do.
Right.
You know, do we want to see people win? Yes, but at the end of the day, this is what we do, and we have to make sure that we charge accordingly as well.
Right.
So that's why we say if you go ahead and put the necessary investments in your business now, like our monthly bookkeeping clients will always, have the advantage because and it's going to be cheaper for them in the long run. One, because they got folks looking at this stuff on a consistent basis.
Right. And we're
Yeah.
asking questions too. Um,
Hmm.
and we're helping them catch mistakes. So if something is going on, we're going to ask them about it. We're also able to, in the process, separate business from the
Hmm.
personal so they're not confused, and we're providing them with the accurate reports that they need. But even with that, we're also still saying, hey, because everybody doesn't connect their credit card. So we're saying, okay, your credit card isn't connected. You're missing out on these type of deductions related to your business. So we're always going to we're going to be worth the money that you pay us. We're always going to ask those
Absolutely.
different questions, those additional questions when it comes to your bookkeeping, whether we're asking about your expenses or your revenue. Like,
Hmm.
we're here to help you make those important decisions in your business. Because what if you're trying to get a loan or a grant and then you want us to do a rush drop or a rush job? Well, the rush job is still going to be us piecing together information. It's still going to cost because, I mean, our time is valuable. But has you done the bookkeeping throughout the year, all you can be like, hey, you can go through your reports and you'll already have what you need basically, and you won't need us to try to give you a year's worth of information in 30 days.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I couldn't have said it better. It's just easier just to go ahead and get it done and
Mhm.
invest as you go. Because
Right.
I promise you, man, if y'all didn't do any bookkeeping in 2024, I assure you, when we ask you what was this Amazon purchase, and if you ain't got it saved somewhere in your email, on the draw, don't do that to yourself. Y'all working too hard out there. Don't do that to yourself.
And it got me working hard trying to do your taxes and to help you decrease your taxes.
Right, right. And let me say this too, like especially talking about investment, it's always good to have, a bookkeeper and a tax preparer because we work in tandem, right? Because if we're like with Latasha and I, that's normally how we do most of our clients. We do our things together. And then
Right.
on the back end, we're strategizing to see because Latasha can see things from a tax side, like after she's filed your client's taxes, she's able to let me know, like, hey, going forward, we need to be tracking this, right? Whether it's depreciation or, like she said, mentioned like credit cards and things like that. Or if I'm aware of something that, the client has told me about their goals, then I can let
Hmm.
Latasha know so she can figure out, how to make that work from a tax perspective. And that's where
Right.
tax planning comes into play, right?
Right.
So another reason why you need to invest. Right? Because we're working hard for you, right?
Right.
Because we want to see
It's
you
not a
win.
loss. I think
Mm-mm.
that's what a lot of people consider is like, well, that's however much money a month. Right. But again, come tax time and you owe the IRS $4,000, you're gonna be asking, What's wrong? What did I do? You can't do nothing else." No, I can only do so much when it comes to your taxes because if you ain't done nothing all year, again, I'm working harder trying to ask you the additional questions, trying to help you remember and recall different things
Mm-hmm.
just to decrease that tax liability. And don't get me wrong, I do that on the front end and the back end, but at the same time, it just makes my job a little harder because it's like we get to a point where I'm like, there's nothing else I can do. I've asked you every single question I can ask, but if you don't know, I certainly don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you know, that's what it
Exactly.
is at that point. Come April 15th,
Man, that's it. Come April 15th, that's it. Uh-oh.
your
Can you
video
see
went
me?
out. No, ma'am.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't see you.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep talking anyway. I'm pretty sure hopefully it'll come back up. I don't see anything going on with my internet. So we're gonna keep on going. All right. Can you see it on YouTube?
I don't know. Let me pull it up.
Hold on, y'all. Let's see what's going on. Do 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 do. You get some music. Okay. Okay, I see.
You found it.
Yeah, but it's just showing it's just showing your side. It's showing my side as kind of like
Oh,
okay, I see.
there you are. Yeah, showing the top of my head. Uh-oh. Well, we will wait for Sonia to come back. So we'll give her a moment to jump back on. There she is. Are you there, Sonia? We had a question in the chat as well. It says, does financial reports come with your service? Yes, we provide profit and loss statement, cash flow statements, and balance sheet to our clients every month. Not hear you, Sonia.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay, got you. Well, at least we got one part down. Hold on.
Yeah, it's all right. As long as we can hear you, it's fine.
Child, I tell you what,
Hopefully, the
true.
video will come back up.
Yep, I tell you. Man, thank you for answering the question on what's going
Problem
on.
at all.
All right, so we got one more thing, and we kind of segued into this anyway, but before we get into the last thing, let me just run down the four. So we talked about mixing personal and business expenses. We talked about not tracking your cash transactions properly. We talked about underreporting or forgetting to report all of your income, missing out on deductions due to poor record keeping. And here's the last but definitely not least, filing late and incurring penalties. Yeah. So, and I think this by far, we have gotten I would say probably if I had to put a percentage to it, I probably it's been like a 60% maybe of the calls that we've had included like prior year returns. Either folks not filing or they had some type of issue or they had a late filing penalty prior to and they got a letter from the IRS, things like that. So, first of all, what I want to say and what I said in the podcast is just because you ignore the IRS doesn't mean that they are going to leave you alone. Because please know, especially when it comes to child support and tax fees, those things, they are not going away. And if you are behind, they will garnish you. They're going to find you and they're going to take your money by any means necessary. Right? So just go on ahead and just go on and face that, you know, address the issue. And if you need to get on a payment plan or work with somebody like Latasha that can maybe do something a little bit next or higher level, like an offering compromise or something to that, degree. Of course, you have to qualify for those types of things, but you need to talk to a tax professional. There are also specialists that help you with, those higher level type of scenarios, right, Latasha?
Right, that's correct.
Yeah. So, y'all, we got to quit hiding from the IRS because every day you getting charged not only a fee but a penalty and all of that. And let me be clear too when it comes to these extensions. When you file your extension, it is not going to stop the clock on your penalties and interest. You're only giving yourself, the IRS is only giving you grace to file it. So, say for example, like for my personal return, when I file my extension, because I will be filing an extension,
Good job.
right, right. When I file that extension, it's going to allow me to uh, file my 2024 tax return by October the 15th,
Yes.
right?
6 extra months.
6 extra months.
Or
However, right,
yeah, that's right.
yeah, right. However, if I end up owing the IRS, they're going to take what I owed and clock it from April the 16th.
Yeah, because it's an extension for filing. It's not an extension to pay your taxes.
Correct. Yeah. So we just want to make sure that we say that over and over and over again. Because normally what happens, especially like, and I use myself as an example, because in 2023 I ended up owing. And so I'll say about a couple of months after that, I got the letter from the IRS saying, hey, you owe this. And on the back of the letter, it's going to show you the dates and the time frames of those penalties and interest from this date to this date. They sure gonna tell it. Right. So y'all, we gotta quit hiding, just go on ahead, and get somebody. And I'll say this too. Make sure, especially in situations like that, that you work with somebody that works you around. 9 times out of 10, and I'm not knocking in no shade to the seasonal tax preparers, but in most situations, they're not gonna be available to handle those things because a lot of times you get those notifications after the taxes have already been filed. And then when you try to
Correct.
go to them, there's a good chance that it may not be available.
Right.
Right. And especially in situations like that, is you will want to be you want to have the person that did the taxes for you available to kind of walk you through things. That'll be best case scenario.
Correct. And to answer any questions that you may have, because I've gotten several new clients who basically say they're an issue came up and their preparer ghosted them. So if nothing else, I'll do my best to try to help. And if I can't, if I know I can't, I'll find somebody else that can do it. Because again, it's my job to make sure that, especially if you work with me, is to help you. I don't want to leave you out here hanging, but if
Mhm.
I'm if I'm not able to help, then I'm either gonna find somebody else, or I'm gonna figure out how I can best help you in those situations.
Right. Yeah. So y'all, again, when it comes to not filing just because, and we understand life happens, but y'all, the alphabet boys is not the folks that you want to play with. It's just not the folks you want to play with. Don't do it. Okay. So, like I said, we wanted to make sure that we were able to make ourselves available. And like I said, we're just trying this out after every podcast, since our podcast episodes are being broadcast bi-weekly. So we want to make sure that we keep that same momentum by having a live Q&A um, in between the episodes. So I want to thank Latasha again for coming out and hanging with me because, like I said, I don't want to make. I want to make sure every time that we come on air that we have an expert coming to talk to us. And if you know GIP Financials in our standard of how we help people, how we serve people, this is what we do on a regular basis, right? And so I just want to make sure that you guys were aware of that. So our next episode that's coming out next week on the what is it 20th? Yeah, on the 20th, we'll have the president of River City Capital, Ron Brooks. Um, and we're going to be talking about becoming a bankable business. You definitely don't want to miss that episode because we talked for well over an hour. And it was
Watch
very,
that.
yeah, it was really, really good. And Ron said that he would be with us on the 27th to do the live Q&A. Right. So especially for any of y'all that have questions about funding, right? Make sure that you tune in to that episode and bring your questions for Ron because he's definitely going to give you guys some perspective. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you're gonna have to have an element of bookkeeping, when it comes to getting funding, because not only are they gonna ask you for tax returns, but they're gonna ask you for a profit and loss statement. They're gonna ask you for a balance sheet, probably even a cash flow statement, and you gotta have those things, right? Because they need
Yes.
to be able to see if you are a good risk to lend money to, right? So those things definitely play an impact. Okay. And so, and I'll tell you too, with this episode, some of y'all gonna be a little mad. Cause we coming for you on all them folks whining out there about funding. We get it.
He's gonna tell them why, right?
We have to talk about the why. We gotta talk about the why, right? So yeah, so any closing remarks there, Latasha?
No, actually, I think we covered everything. But take our advice and invest in bookkeeping because it's going to help you save money. Again, same thing I said earlier. Who you want to pay, us or the IRS? You know, it
Right.
sounds like a no-brainer to me, to be honest. 'Cause we're gonna be nice about it and help you out. While the IRS, they're gonna tell you, I don't want to hear all that. Run me my money.
Hmm. At the end of the day, I cannot stress that enough. That's exactly what they're gonna say. And then I had a client before that was like, "Well, we'll just tell them that we didn't know." The IRS don't want to hear that.
You cannot claim ignorance because guess what? They don't care. If you
They
get the
don't care.
right IRS agent, maybe, but 9 times out of 10, look, they got their own problems right now. They ain't worried about us.
Mhm. Man, they got a whole lot of problems going on right now. Big problems, big boy problems.
Correct.
Boy, I tell you. Yeah. So y'all, if you want to learn more information about GIP and what we do, I actually have Latasha's information on our website. So if you go to, hold on, watch this. Boom, GIPfinancials.com. If you click on the little menu and go to taxes, you'll see Latasha and our other partner, Michael Tunstall, G1 Business Group. and you can actually schedule an appointment to talk to Latasha directly about your taxes, right?
Let me go right now. Let me see what we working with over here.
You never see, I thought you saw it already.
I have not.
You know, go to GIP Financials and then go to taxes. But I'm also going to put, it's so silly. But I'm also going to put Latasha's website on here as well.
All
Y'all can reach out
right,
to
I
her.
see us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Love it.
Latasha will sit down and talk with you about your tax situation, all that good stuff.
Nice. I love it.
You like the
Check
website?
us out. Oh yeah, I do.
It's hilarious. Got you. Well, y'all, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us this evening. And this episode will actually stay on our YouTube channel. So y'all can come back and check it out. And if you have any questions or comments, you can still comment and we'll get notified about it. And we'll follow up with you. All that good stuff. Cool? All right. So, y'all, thank you again for hanging out with us. And if you're going to be at the Junior League event on the 21st, come holler at us. It's going to be at the convention center downtown. We're going to be vending and we're going to have some fun stuff for y'all to do. And you know how we roll. If you know us, we know we always going to have fun. So, all right. So, y'all have a good evening and we will catch you guys next time. Take care, y'all. Okay. We good. Man, I don't know what's going on with my stuff. My stuff just quit on me, man. Oh,
Stop.
really? Really? Really?
Now it come
This
back
is
on.
crazy.
Now that the video stopped.